Tonight we will speak about the topic tonight will be finding happiness in life. It's perhaps the most difficult thing in life to do, based on the facts in the last 45 years. Just to give us an idea, since 1960 until today, which is 47 years altogether, the numbers of the people who suffer from depression in the world came up 10% higher, 10 times more. It's interesting because today 1 out of every 21 people either suffered or suffering or will suffer from depression, either temporary or very long depression in his lifetime. And obviously everybody understands that it's not supposed to be that way, so we're going to try to understand the reason to some of the problems and the agony in this world, and of course try to find a way how to get to a better life. The problem is that when we compare us to any other species in nature, we will see something very interesting. Everyone who is not so smart, not intelligent, is much, much happier than us that we are intelligent. I'll give you an example what I mean. If you have a dog, or if you have a cat, or deer, or anything in a forest, these animals do not suffer from depression. There's no indication by having research after an animal that they're having depressions. They may have difficult times as far as finding their food, or seasons, or people attacking them. Yes, I'm not saying no. But suffering from fear and depression and being worried about the future, you don't find it by the animals. When you come to humankind, you see that little kids, 1 year old, 2 years old, also don't suffer from any depression. They never worry about the future. They're not worried about what's going to be tomorrow. That part that most people in life have, those little children don't have. So eventually, the older the person gets, closer to, let's say, 18 years old, when he has to deal with life, the closer he gets to become independent, his life really, if you follow up on what's going on with his life, gain much more pressure, sometimes much more agony, pain, frustration, and mainly worry about the future. And obviously, we have to see how we're trying to correct that problem. This world is full of questions. Question that we all live with is, what's the purpose of this life? If we search around in the world, unfortunately, we see that most people have a lot of sufferings. Where does the world heading to? The world is keep progressing more and more. The technology, things are changing in tremendous way. You know, it's very fast. Where are we heading to? What's going to be in this generation, the next generation? This is something that a lot of people worry about. What's going to be with humankind when all the dangers that we have around us? Does it pay to invest and prepare what's going to be in 20, 30 years? What's going to happen? Who is right in his way? There are so many theories in this world. Thousands of different theories. Everybody thinks he has the truth. I'm not only talking about the fact that there's 80,000 religions and cults, and just imagine if you had to go and check each one of them, how many hundreds of years you would need to know who's right. Obviously, we're lucky that we are the first one, and also that we receive our religion in public, in front of millions of people. All of them started with a story of one person and has a lot of mistakes. This is not the topic now. If you're interested to see the difference between Judaism to other religions, you log into my website. There's about 200 lectures over there. Few of them speak about that. It's divineinformation.com. Over there you see plenty of information, mistakes in Quran, mistakes in the New Testament, in Buddhism. That's not the topic tonight. But the idea is that everybody claims he has the truth. And even among us, the Orthodox religious Jews, there's also arguments. What's the right way? You know, what's the right direction? So obviously, when we see humankind never made up his mind, and nobody ever agree on one way. Everybody has his way. And many, many other questions. One of the things we wondering about, why every human being has a different fortune than the other. One is very wealthy, one is very poor, one his life is on and off, one his life is stable, almost always the same. It's progressing always equally. Some people are very healthy throughout their life. There are people who can live 80, 90 years, don't visit by the doctor once in their life. There are people from the day they're born, doctors after doctors, or surgeries, problems, from one problem to the other. Is it coincidence? What's going on here? Also difficulties. Some people have in general difficult life. Some people have very easy life. If you can find those people, it's hard to find them. But there are people who have relatively easy life. Sometimes people are born with some kind of defect which will affect their life tremendously. Their life will never be the same like the regular people. So we are wondering why he has it and the other one not. Why I has it and he doesn't have it. And this kind of thoughts bothering us constantly throughout our life. And not only us, every person in this life, in this world. Sometimes we find that what we call righteous people having a very bitter end. Either they die young from terrible sickness, or they lose, God forbid, children, or they never got married. And on the other hand, people that everybody likes to call them wicked or evil, supposedly have great, they marry a great wife, and they're having children, and they're having parnasa, and they're having health. It seems that everything works for them. And we begin to wonder, where is the justice? And it's affecting us tremendously. Then everybody is always busy comparing him to the people around him. The nature of humankind, for whatever reason, we will have to find the reason for that. The nature of humankind is always to compare himself to others, but in a way that he's going to be jealous with what his friend has better than him. Not necessarily what he called better is really better. This is another problem, ignorance, that we cannot define what's real good and what's real bad. And according to our opinion, we happen to make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes when we think it's good, in the eyes of our Creator it's terrible, or the other way around. But we are always busy comparing ourselves to others which we consider more successful than us in certain fields. Someone who has, God forbid, a problem with the children. Every week they go to hospital, they have to sleep there, another surgery, and fly overseas and come back. What's go through their mind through all this process? Why me? Why only me? Why not them? Why not them? Oh, he always wonder in his heart, in his mind, what's going on with my life? Why did I have to have this? Why I got punished like this? Where is the justice? These questions repeat every day, every second of our life, depend what we're busy with. And of course, if we check the source of all the problems, all the agony, all the bitterness that people have in their life, plus the answer to all the questions that I have, the doubts that people happen to have through all these subjects that I mentioned, the answer is one. There's one source that creates all these problems and all these doubts. Lack of faith in our Creator. Problems with our confidence, problems with our faith, and ignorance that cause us not to recognize the secrets and the maintenance of this world by the Creator. Obviously, it's depend on the nature of the person, and depend on his level also. Some people don't even believe in God. When you ask them what's going on here, they'll tell you all kinds of nonsense. Explosion, evolution. They don't have an explanation what's going on around. Some people believe in God, but they don't believe that God cares about what's going on in this world, which means He does not supervise every transaction here. Maybe sometimes He gets involved, maybe He's not. They're not sure. Some people may not call it God. They say there's a power, there's a creator, but we do not know what's going on. Some people already know there is God, and they also know He supervises everything that happens in this world. But at the same time, since they never learn a lot of Torah, they don't really know how He does it. And everything that looks a little bit strange to them, they have the wrong explanation for that, which caused them to sink in deep depression, anger, jealousy, problem, pride, crime that comes. This is all results of the same thing. You're always going to lead to the same route. No confidence in God, no faith in God. As a matter of fact, today's generation, the main problem of today's generation is what I just mentioned. And everything that you see negative in the Jewish world today, always going to lead you to the same answer. The people have no faith in God. Let's describe a world when the people had faith in God. Just let's assume that all the people, the Jews and the non-Jews in the world, will have strong faith that everything that happened here that's what God wants, that's what Hashem wants, and Hashem promised in His Torah that everything is going to do, it's for our own benefit. We may not understand it right now. Eventually maybe we will, maybe only when we leave this world we will understand, after we leave this material world. But let's assume that people would know that everything that happened, that's what we deserve. You made money, you deserve it. You did not make, you also deserve it. To make is not necessarily better than not to make. Sometimes to lose is the greatest gift you could have got in that point of your life. Because if you would see the continuation of your life 2-3 months down the road without that loss, it would be a million times worse. You just you cannot see it. We are very limited. We know very little. The little that we know, if we know right things, it comes from the Torah. All the other things we know, it's a mixture of all kinds of things that we learn throughout our life, from the Gentiles, from the professors, from the colleges, from the schools, from our parents, from our friends. Most of the time the information that we get into our computer, which is the brain, it's nonsense. And because we have a mixture of a lot of nonsense information, it ruins our life completely. For instance, I give you an example. A person thinks that since there's no supervision in this world, I have to be very clever and to be a sophisticated thief. If I'm going to be very clever, I can make millions by stealing here and there, robbing places, forging credit cards, doing all kinds of fraudulent transactions. And he begins to work in this direction, and he's being very successful for a while. He gets confidence in his goal, and he works with the feeling that he is the smartest person in the world. Why? It's been going for 6-7 years. He made millions like that. All his friends working very hard. Sometimes they cannot pay their bills. He feels, I'm on the top of the world. If a person doesn't get to the knowledge that there is a creator, and he watch everything he does and everything is registered, and this creator has a lot of patience when the way he moves things around, this person has no reason ever to stop. The only thing that will get this person back into the right track is by recognizing what's going on really, not what he thinks. And that's again ignorance. I'll give a few more examples. For instance, people ask not only about generally in life, overall, how our life looks from 0 to 870. Every day, every hour. For instance, people who are trading in business, buying and selling merchandise, they're having a lot of transaction, or in a stock market, They have 1 good hour, 1 bad hour, 3 good hours, 2 bad hours, 1 good day, 1 bad day. Sometimes they have a good week, and then comes 2 bad weeks. So they are wondering about the timing. And they're getting the idea that it's all coincidence. And I wish I wouldn't come to work this day. If I would stay home, I would save myself another $10,000. And they're living all their life with this kind of thoughts, which really is the biggest nonsense you can think of. Because these people are not aware that every decision that God made about them, from what happened today, what happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow, was already done and completed in Rosh Hashanah. Everything as far as the Parnassah started is gonna be redecided in the next Rosh Hashanah. So they thinking, oh, because I went to work, I lost. Because I went to work, I made. Because I made that guy, I made money. If I would not meet him, I would lose the money. I had an accident because I was talking on the phone. All kinds of reasons like this. And this is right away in the wrong direction, because all the things that happen has different reasons. You are only pointing at the tool that God used to practice, to basically to do what he was wishing to do. But that's really not the source. I'll give you an example. If a dog came on the street and beat you, what would you say? Because of the dog, I need stitches now, right? This is what 99.9% of the people would say. What happened to you? The dog attacked me. All their anger is being directed towards the dog. The dog is nothing in a story, really. The decision was made that this person will get wounded on that day and that time. And God decided to do it through the dog. He could have done it through an accident, through a car accident, through a knife, through glass, through millions of different ways. Of course, what's important in this story that this person was punished for something. Whether it was the dog or not, it's really irrelevant. But the people, because of ignorance again, they direct, everything is coincidence, and that's why their anger goes towards the dog. Same thing between relationship between people. In business, somebody stole money from you. It's true, when it comes to human being, this is their free choice. Someone who decided to steal, it's his choice. Nobody forced him to steal. It's not like the animals that they live by the instinct. If somebody were forced the people to do something, then we wouldn't have a choice. We wouldn't have a choice, we need to live here. The whole purpose of this life is a place of a test. So if a person decided to steal from you money, is it possible that he would be able to hurt you in any way if the creator of the world would think that you're innocent, that you don't deserve it? The answer is of course not. The fact that this person was successful, it's because you deserve it. Bottom line, after this introduction, everything that happened to every person in the world, he deserves it. Even if you are 100% convinced that he's the best person in the world, and you're not agreeing with his verdict or what just happened to him, you should always remember the difference between us and the Creator, that we are limited and he is not. We can see at the best scenario 1% from the story, and based on 1% you cannot decide what's the right verdict, and he sees everything from the beginning to the end, not of this person, the entire world, from the beginning to the end. You have to know one thing. Everything that happened to a person, not only affecting him, affecting the whole world. You have to understand, when a creator of the world wants to give something good to a person, or something that we translate as bad, which means, for instance, profit or a loss. When he exercises what he wanted to do, when it comes to action, the decision for every individual, it's not an individual decision. It's a decision that connects to 6.4 billion people that lives on this earth. How? What's the connection between me? If I lost today $100, what's the connection between me and the guy in China? What's the connection? Very simple. If you look at the chain reaction that this transaction, the effect that it's going to have, you'll be amazed. I'll give you an example. Reuven stole money from Shimon, all his money. Shimon, since he lost all his money, he wanted to pay the mortgage. He couldn't pay the mortgage. So he went to borrow money from his father-in-law. His father-in-law lent him the money for the house, and he promised that he's going to pay him the money. He couldn't pay him, so now his father-in-law went bankrupt. He wanted to save his daughter. So the father-in-law had a problem. He didn't pay suppliers in a business. The suppliers didn't have money because of him. They didn't pay the Chinese guy in China. The Chinese guy in China didn't get paid. He didn't pay his rent. And that's going forever and ever. It's a chain reaction. Every transaction that happens in the world connects to so many trillions of things. And the problem that we have, at the best scenario, we can see 2-3 steps. That's it. We don't really see everything we did, what's the outcome. I'll give you another example. And I'm gonna direct the lecture to the topic that we want to speak about, but I have to say this introduction for us to understand a little bit better later. I'll give you another example. You have an enemy. You don't like him. He hurt you, insulted you in front of people. From that day on, he's not your favorite anymore. And you went to school, and somebody asked you about him for marriage. Is he a good guy? I want to marry my daughter to him. He's going out with my daughter on shidduch. What do you have to say? Really, you know inside that the guy is good. He's a great guy. What he did for you was wrong. That's no argument about that. He hurt you. He should have apologized. He should have corrected what he did. He did not. Just the fact that a person did one bad thing doesn't mean he's a negative person, because we all make mistakes. So you took revenge on that person, and you tell the father, stay away from that guy. It's not good for your daughter. And this and this and this will happen. That's it. 1 minute conversation. How long after you forgot about it? Perhaps a minute later. A minute later you got into your car, you put a tape, you don't remember that you just murdered an entire nation. You didn't see it. Why? For you, what did I do? I saved 3 sentences. Eventually, if there was a way for you to see how far it goes, you would pull all your hair from your head. Wow, what have I done? How do I correct it? Why? Because this guy was supposed to go with her and get married and have children, and the children will go to good yeshivot, and one of them will be the biggest rabbi in the world and get a great yeshiva, and have a great yeshiva, thousands of students, and from them will be hundreds of rabbis, and from them will be eventually in the 3rd generation thousands of rabbis and synagogues and mikvehs and another yeshiva, and the Jewish nation will have hundreds of more Torah learners, scholars, and everything was prevented from 5-6 words he said. So the idea is that a person he cannot even dream how far every word that comes out of his mouth can go. The scientists found that when a butterfly shakes his wings, like moving them a little bit, what do you see? Do you see anything happen in the field? Nothing. They saw that the energy that it creates travels and affects certain things in nature. There's a whole article about it, that it can go from one side of the world to the other side of the world and start coming back. That's how much the energy, it's accelerate and grow like a snowball, and one thing affects the other, and we have no understanding what's going on here. You see, in order for you to see a leaf come down from the tree, you have no idea how many billions of things happen until it happened in nature. We have no understanding about anything. 1, 2, 3 steps, that's the most we can understand. You have to know one thing. The Creator is perfect. And this is the way He describes Himself in the Torah. That He is the past, He is the present, He is the future. There's no mistake connects to Him. He is unable to make mistakes because He's perfect. Plus, that He supervises everything that happens in nature from A to Z at any given time. I want to ask you a question. What would have happened if the Creator of the world, once every 100 years, will miss one little object in the creation? So He supervises everything, with no exception, except one thing. There's one thing in 100 years that for 1 second He could not see, or He could not supervise. That little thing. What would happen to the world at that moment? Who knows?
Can you repeat that question again?
Yes. If there are trillions of things moving around in the world, right? One connects to the other, obviously. Nature, human being. You're shaking hands, you're doing business, you're signing checks, you're running, this person, the car hits somebody, an ambulance comes, everything is connected. We don't see the Creator supervise everything in any given second. I'm just saying, assume that he had a difficulty to see one transaction that happened. He missed it. One transaction he couldn't see. In 100 years, that's all. Everything else is supervised. What would happen to the world? Huh? Oh, very good. Everything will be over. You have to understand what's going on here. If you miss one little detail in a creation, even once, or in hundreds of years, the chain reaction that it will have, because one thing connects to the other, it's a chain reaction. It's really not one thing. It's everything that connects to it as a chain reaction that will never end until this world will be destroyed. So this is what gives us an understanding. It's impossible for the Creator to miss one thing, because if he had missed one thing, we wouldn't be here. Everything must be connected to the perfect justice. If you miss one detail, there will never going to be justice anymore. Why? It's now coincidence, because it's a chain reaction. So the power of the Creator is tremendous, and we have no understanding. Also the Torah says, "Ki lo machshevotai machshevotechem." My thoughts are not your thoughts. "Velo drachai darkechem," and my ways are different than your ways. Comparing an eagle to a worm, the same way the eagle is very high, it can fly around, and the worm can hardly move and is on the ground. That's more or less the comparison between our ability to our Creator's ability. Why do I give you all this introduction? Now we're coming to what we really wanted to speak tonight. Because the Creator, in His book, in His Torah, which can be proven in less than half an hour, for those who know me already, they know it's possible, because we've done it in many places in the past. In less than half an hour, we can prove to every individual, regardless where you're going to bring him from, regardless of his intelligence, can be the smartest person in the world, doesn't matter. In less than half an hour, I can prove with the source of the Torah, of course, nothing based on my knowledge or my talent, based on the Torah only. I can prove to every person in less than half an hour that the Torah is divine, which means the Creator of the world gave us the Torah. Why it's so important? Because when we open up the Torah, we see one thing that we may not were aware of. What is it? That happiness can be reached only in one way. Who knows? Who knows what's the only way to be happy in this life?
Be happy with whatever you have in life.
Just being rich.
I heard you. Who say to be rich?
No, I'm just saying to be happy with what you have is just being rich. As a share has to happen.
First of all, we didn't say. First of all, I don't think that when a person is satisfied with his financial situation, that's necessarily is going to make him a happy person. Yes, he can be happy, but we say osher. Osher and happiness is a little bit different. It's very sophisticated because it sounds very similar. To be happy, you smile, you're happy about something that happened. To be happy, I mean, in English it sounds the same. It's the same word, but really happiness in Hebrew means osher with aleph. Osher. Osher means that a person is happy in every given second of his life. How can a person reach such level that throughout his life, and of course when he leaves this world, he is constantly satisfied, peaceful, happy? All these words together create the word Osher. Everything together. So financial situation has only one way. But obviously you have to know that Mr. Gates, Bill Gates, went to Israel a few months ago, and the newspaper reporter, they asked him, Mr. Gates, you are the right person to ask this question. Is money bring happiness? And he like almost attacked her. He said, absolutely not. Nothing whatsoever. It brings convenience. It helps in certain ways, but for sure it does not make a person inside happy. And what's the proof for that? Chazal says, our sages in the Torah says like this: there is a rule here in this world that a person always seek for more. Always, no matter in what situation he's in, he's still thinking, how do I make more? I give you an example. הגמרא says, יש לו 100, רוצה 200. He has 100, he wants 200. When he has 200, he wants 400. When he has 400, now he wants 800. Of course, it doesn't have to be exactly those numbers, but the idea is clear, no? Always wants to grow. Now, you have to know one thing. When he only had 100, he wanted to get to 200, he was only missing 100. To get 100, it's not such an impossible mission. A month of work, I'm going to have now 200. Once he has 1 million, he wants to get to 2 million. Because that's what it is. Based on what you have, this is how you determine how much you are missing. Why? Because when a person has 1 million, if you give him another 100, it's not going to affect him in any way. Right? If a person made $1 million, now you're going to give him, he's going to make another $100. He's going to be excited? No. When he was a beginner at work, he was willing to go to a meeting for $100. Right? Because there was a lot of money for him, because he only had 100. So for 100, he was willing to travel and to make it. Once he has 1 million, he's not going to travel for 100. What changed? 100 is the same 100. He buys the same thing. Because it's all an illusion. What he has, this is how he makes his mission for the next target. That doesn't mean that it's the truth. That doesn't mean it's positive for him. That doesn't mean that's what his creator is happy with. This is the way a person decides. So this is like a habit. He has 1 million, he wants 2 million. When he has 2 million, he wants 4 million. So the more he has, the more he needs. And that's a big mistake. So that's why most people never rest. It's interesting. You may think that people that had, for instance, $10 million, they are set for life. They can put it by the bank, 5% interest, they don't have to work. They can have everything they want, they can travel, they can live in a good house, they can have a cleaning lady, can have a good car for him and his wife, can put his kids in good yeshivot, and he doesn't have to bother. He can sit all his life in yeshiva and enjoy the Torah, the sweetness of the Torah. He can do some things for his body, but mainly focus on his soul, which is the main purpose of life. But we see that the more these people get, the more busy they become with this materialistic world. So it's interesting. It's worked the other way around. I'll give you an example. Sometimes it's like this. If this is the way it's working. The Zohar, the Holy Zohar, define why the Creator created us. It will be very difficult to know without the Torah telling us. So it says like this: what's the expectation of the Creator from you? This is your purpose of your creation. The purpose of your creation, the reason why you were being created, this is what the Creator expects from you. So that means, if I created a computer, what was my goal? My goal was that the computer I will be able to prepare lecture on a PowerPoint. So in order for me to do it, I needed to create the hardware and the software. Two things, put them together like a body and soul. Now I'm able to create lectures and display them on a wall whenever I want. What caused me to create the computer and the software? My decision that I want to display lecture on the wall. That was the reason why I created a computer. Same thing here. But the difference here, that here the person is independent, not like the computer. The computer, whatever you designed it, it can never change its purpose. The person has a free choice. He can go with his purpose, but he also has the choice to rebel against his creator. This is something very interesting. That the Creator created you and He gave you the ability to go against Him. For instance, He wrote in His Torah you should not kill. When you go to kill, who gives you the strength to do it? Who helps you to aim to the target? Who supplies you with oxygen in a moment that you're on your mission to do such terrible crime? Who helps you to run away from the police when they arrive? Who helps you? I mean, without his help, you cannot breathe 1 second. So obviously, the robbers, when they rob a bank, do you know what they do? They read Tehillim before. Shir HaMa'alot. May God help me when the police won't be around. They pray before. Yet at the same time, in their subconscious, for sure, nobody can claim that he didn't know it's a crime to steal in the Torah, right? Not only in the laws of the United States. In the Torah, people knows. Almost every Jew in Israel knows the Torah, the 10 Commandments say should not steal. When they go to steal, they pray to Hashem to help them to steal. Isn't it weird? Believe me, there are things that are much, much worse and more strange than this, that we do every day. But we go back, so the Zohar says like this. The Zohar says, the Creator created us, and His interest is that we will recognize Him and know Him. And the more we will get to know Him, the happier we're gonna get. That's the connection. Now tell me please. I'm going to tell you a few things in the next half an hour that may not sound logical to you. But remember one thing, I'm reading it from the book of your Creator. Now tell me please, who knows better what's good for you? You or Him? Right? Sometimes the laws of the Torah, when you read them for the first time, they look very strange to you. You don't understand the logic. You can almost swear that if you do the opposite, it will be better for you, for the world, for your family, for everyone, or maybe even for God. But you always have to remember that He knows much better than you. And what looks right to you right now looks wrong to Him. I'll give you an example. There used to be a king. His name was King Saul. Hashem told him there's a nation that needs to be wiped up from this world. I don't want them to stay here. The nation of Amalek. They attacked my nation, the nation of Israel, a few times already in the desert. Now there's a mitzvah to clean them from the face of the earth. Go to a war with them. It's a mitzvah war. You have to do it. Do not leave one of them alive. Do not leave their sheep. Do not leave their belongings. Don't enjoy from any of their possessions. Destroy it from the face of the earth. Sounds a little bit cool, no? To go kill an entire nation, everyone, you may begin to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to kill the soldiers. I understand. They gave us a lot of hard time. What about the wives? What about the children? What's their connection to this hate that they have to us? They may hate us, but do they deserve to die? Okay, so they deserve to die. Fine. What about the sheep? Sheep is millions of dollars. They have maybe goats, thousands of goats, thousands of cows. What's the connection to the animals? So in your logic, in your common sense, you say, what? I'm going to kill all these animals? It's a mistake. God made a mistake. He didn't really mean that I'm going to kill all these tens of thousands of animals. It's a lot of money. I'm going to do something better for Him. What am I going to do? I'm going to take those animals and sacrifice them, because we know that one of the mitzvot, hundreds of the mitzvot, maybe more than 250 mitzvot, is connects to sacrifices from the 613. I'm going to make Him very happy. Who did that mistake? King Saul. He killed all of them, he left one. And he left one, and because he left one, you know what happened? From that one, hundreds of years later, we had Haman in Persia. Some of you are Persians, so you know the story, no? Mordechai and Esther are buried in Hamadan, in Iran. Why they so famous? Because there was somebody, Haman. Who was the Haman? The grandson of this Agag, the king of Amalek, the king of Aman Agagi. That's his name. He came from the one person who survived. A nation came out of him. And then later, 2,000 and change years later, who came from that? Hitler. So you have to see what's going on here. King Saul meant well. He wanted to do something to make God even happier. His mistake was that he thought that his intelligence and his understanding is enough to make a decision, and he ignored the order, and later we had Holocaust one after the other because of that bad decision. King Solomon, Hashem said the king is not allowed to have more than 18 wives. Altogether 18, no more. King Solomon say, yeah, of course, this is for ordinary kings, not for a righteous king like me that learns Torah and know all the secrets of the world. I mean, somebody like me, I have a mission. I'm going to marry every princess in the world and convert her, teach her, make her a seminar. We just had a seminar this weekend. Baruch Hashem, some people became religious already. So I'm going to give her it took us 3 days to make some people Shomer Shabbos. King Solomon probably was 32nd. You just see the smartest person on earth. It makes a big impression. So he made each one of them religious, Jew, send her back to her father. And she started to preach over there. And a lot of the people all over the world got closer to Judaism. As a matter of fact, his mission was very successful, because this was the best time perhaps in a Jewish history for the Jewish people in the world. Everyone admired us. He was like the king of the world. People came from all over bringing him gifts. What happened in the end? What happened in the end? The last sentence of the life of King Solomon was, and he did the bad in the eye of God. His women, all the women turned his heart away from God. They took his level down. And in the end, a tragedy came out of it. And there's a remark on his life. Why? He meant well. It seems that his plan is working very well throughout his life. What happened in the end? God is always right. God is always right. The problem is that we think that we are smarter sometimes, and that's what brings us to all these problems. So now, the Torah tells us, the more you're going to recognize your God, you're going to understand what He wants from you. You will understand the hints that He sends you every day of your life. And the more you will invest in getting closer to Him, your life will become clearer. And they will have less and less doubts, until you can reach the level like King David. King David felt that his soul coming out of his body from love to his Creator. If you read a little bit Tehillim, try to go into the mind of King David, you'll be amazed for the love he reached to his Creator. That's why he's one of the most righteous people in history. One of the best 10, for sure, in history, King David. Mashiach comes from him. The Messiah will come from King David. Tehillim is 100% Ruach HaKodesh, 100% holy, the spirits of Hashem on King David, on every parts of the Tehillim that he wrote. You can see right away it's not human words. It's all like divine, one by one. There's prophecies inside. There's a lot of directions on that. We can even learn halachot from that. The Gemara learns halachot from that. So it's an integral part from the Bible. One of the 24 books of the Bible is Tehillim. We'll continue. There is another thing that we have to be aware of. We translate that a person that has sicknesses and problem and agony and is single and he doesn't have children and all that thing, etc., etc., this is somebody that God is angry at. This is somebody that God does not like. However, me, that I don't have none of this problem, I have a wife, I have children, I have money, I have health, I have this, no problem, no accident, everything works as usual for many years, that means God loves me. Wrong. If any, it's closer to be the other way around. Where does it say it in the Torah? The Torah says, someone that I love, I hate. Someone that I'm tired of, I leave alone. The opposite of what we think. What do you mean? What do you mean? If you have 2 children, 2 boys, they're not doing so well in school. One of them, you sit on top of him every day. You hit his hand, you take away his Discman, you don't let him use the bike, you don't give him money, you take away things he likes. You're very tough with him. And the other one, you don't care. He plays basketball, he plays baseball, he gets 0 on a test, no problem, no punishment, not go to your room, nothing. Ignorant fools may think that you like the boy that plays basketball more than the one you're tough with. But someone intelligent right away recognize that this boy means a lot more to you. That's why you're tough with him. Why are you tough with him? Because you want him to become successful. And the way to make people successful is sometimes to hit them. If everything goes smooth with no warning, nothing, you don't threat them, you don't hit them, you do not punish, you don't push them sometimes hard into the right track, every day their situation become worse and worse and worse. Since we are living in illusion that we think that the purpose of our creation was to live in this world, and it wasn't at all, it was only a preparation for the world of eternity, and this is a place of a test. We are busy all our life to gain as much as we can here. And that's why when we lose, we go into depression sometimes, in agony, and we are very angry. Sometimes we cry. But the truth is that that could have been the best thing that happened to us. So what is the rule? Remember, rule number 1, I'm going to start going into the rules of reaching happiness in this life. Rule number 1, there's no way in the entire history that a person can reach real happiness from inside, to build it, to establish happiness, if he does not aware of his creator. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, it's not enough to be aware that there's a creator. The formula works like this. The more you get closer to him, the more you realize that you depend on him. The more you depend on him, you establish confidence, you and him alone. You don't depend on help from any other human being. You don't have to beg any person. You don't hate anybody. You don't have anger. You don't have revenge feelings. You don't have jealousy. You are not looking for any pride and honor. You are humbled. You're not in love with this materialistic, the worlds of illusion. Look how many sicknesses are being cured just by reaching the level of your confidence in your Creator. Almost all the sicknesses that humanity have automatically will disappear. And you have what people are dying for, it's a peace of mind. I'll give you an example. If you take a person that has many, many businesses in different fields, his mind is exploding from the pressure of his business, convention, flies, meetings, people are coming, arguments, bid, prices, auctions. His life is very tense, he's under stress. A lot of those people end their life with suddenly they get a heart attack. It's a common thing. Everybody wonder why this person got a heart attack. He has so much. What he was under stress? Yes, Chazal say, "Marbe nechasim, marbe deagot." The more you have, the more worry you're gonna be. It's a rule. So now I want to ask you: if a person worked 60 years and reached X amount of money, a lot of money, and somebody will come and say, "Sir, you see this glass? If you drink this glass, this is what's going to happen. You will never be angry once again in your life. You'll never be jealous with any person in your life. You will be very comfortable what you have. You're never gonna have a desire to fight with anyone. You will be very, very happy from your life, and the most important thing, you will have always a peace of mind. You live like you're in a moon. You have a peace of mind. You're quiet. You never worry about tomorrow. Your life will be great. This glass of water will cost you 95% of what you earned, and you are 60 years old. Let's say you made $100 million, $95 million, but guarantee, all this list that I just gave you, you gain it by drinking this glass of water. Let's get to this test. If you would be that millionaire,
What about alcohol?
you would buy it? You would buy that cup from me, from 95, to get all this? So now pay attention to the absurd here. The Torah offer you a way to reach the list that I just mentioned in less than a month, without paying $95 million, without sacrificing 60 years of your life in order for you to get a peace of mind for the last 10 that you have to live. How is it? How is it? Very simple. Buy this book. Your life will never be the same. That's it. Very simple. Very simple. I'll give you an example. In order for you to get the name of the book, it's only after the lecture. I give you the name of the book. You don't need me. You leave now. Tomorrow you have the book. What do you need a lecture for? But you know how this cook and the bakers, they never give you the real ingredients. You know, like you always, we ask from someone, can you give me the ingredients? They give you 99%, but the spice that they put, they don't tell you about. So then you make the same thing, it tastes far away from his food. All right, let's continue. Chazal says like this: the goal of Hashem, the goal of God is to push a person to a point in his life, and that's going to be a big success for that person, to recognize that he does not need anybody in this world other than God. And he will depend only on Him. And he will never trust people, never have to beg people, will never have to bother about people. He will have always 100% confidence that he has unlimited amount of money. I need it tomorrow, I'll have it tomorrow. I'll give you a story. You know, I know it will be hard for you to believe, but this story, it's legit 100%. Who say that story? One of the biggest Kabbalists in the world. He lives in Yerushalayim. He has big yeshiva. Rav Benayahu Shmueli, his name. I'm sure you heard. Some of you heard about him. Yes. He told that story 20-something years ago when he was an avrech. You know what avrech means? A young guy that just got married and learned in a kollel, in yeshiva. When he was just teaching in yeshiva, not the head of the yeshiva, just teaching in yeshiva, there was demonstrations of the religious people in Yerushalayim against those who drive on Shabbat. And the police in Israel, what happened in cases like this? They arrested the people. So 2 religious people were put in jail and they need to be released on bail. The amount is $1,000. $1,000 25, 30 years ago was like $3,000 today. That's just for the, for the understanding. It's not a little amount in Israel. It's difficult to get $1,000 20, 30 years ago. So there was one person, his name, if I'm not mistaken, I hope I pronounce his name right, his name was Todos. Todos, important guest. Todos, it was a person, very simple person, you may say poor, but very, very happy, always happy. Always happy. Never get angry, never cry. Everything that happens, he accepted with love. Fantastic life he has. He's glued to Hashem like crazy glue. 100%. His soul is getting wonderful downloads from heaven every day. That's Todos. What does a Jew in this level does when he hears there's 2 other Jews going to spend Shabbat in jail? He has to get $1,000. Who does he come? To somebody he knows. A person is obligated to put a little effort. The rest is not in your hand. The Torah says, "Ptach li petach kepitcho shel machat." Open me a hole as the size of a needle. Ve'eftach lecha kepitcho shel olam, and I will do all the rest for you. I'll open all the rest for you. Just make the first step. Make a little effort. Make a phone call. Moshe, I marry my daughter, the wedding gonna be in a month, I'm broke, I don't have a penny. Can you help me out? Yes, goodbye. That's it. You don't have to go kill yourself, run, work 3 jobs. If you do it, that means you have no faith in Hashem. So this Todos, what does he do? He comes to Rav Benayahu. Say, Benayahu, we need to get $1,000 to release those 2 Jews. So where would I get you $1,000 for? He said, I don't know. Collect from all the guys here. Say, you're responsible to give it back? He said, of course. Just I need it fast. He said, okay, come back in an hour, you have the money. He came back in an hour, the money was ready for him. He took the money, he went right away to the prison there, he released them. So he was very happy, because this is a very big mitzvah. To release a Jew from the Goyim, from the prison, Shavui, put him in prison, is a very big mitzvah. It's such a big mitzvah, believe it or not, that if we couldn't get money in all over town, we were permitted to sell the Sefer, the only Sefer Torah in the entire town. We were left with no Torah to read on Shabbat to release a Jew from the Goyim. That's what a big mitzvah is this. So he was so happy that all his life he made a lot of mitzvot, but he never made that mitzvah yet of Pidyon Shvuim. So he wanted to go on Sunday to Meron, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai grave, to make a meal to thank Hashem, to say a prayer in front of people and to feed the poor people over there. Seudat Hodaya. So he comes on Sunday morning to Rav Benayahu. Pay attention, this is people in our generation. This story is 20 years ago, 25 years ago. He comes to Rav Benayahu on Sunday morning. He say, I'm going to Meron. You coming with me? He say, how are we going to get to Meron? You have a car? He say, no. We'll take a cab. It's a cab. You know how much a cab costs to go from Yerushalayim to Meron? It's 3 hours driving. He said, why you worry? You coming, yes or no? He said, okay, I'm coming. They pull up a cab, pull over a cab. So you sure you don't have money? He said, not a penny. They get on a cab, and the guy says, where? He said, to Meron. You know, a taxi driver, if you stop him in Yerushalayim, you tell him we gotta go to Meron. You made up his month. This is like hundreds of local rides. How much? He gave them the price, and now they're on their way to Meron. They don't have a penny in their pocket. Now he has to get the food. Where is he gonna get the food? He lives with 100% faith in Hashem, but real. Not just making statements and announcements. Real 100%. Pay attention to what happened. On the way, he tells the taxi driver, pull over, there's a Glad Kosher restaurant that I know. The owner is Tzaddik. I want to get some rice, some gondi, whatever, to take to Meron. He pull over there. He comes to the restaurant, he say, make me, a tray of rice, chicken, this, that. The guy preparing everything. So where are you getting all this? So I'm going to Meron. Why? He tells him the story, what happened on Friday. What happened on Friday? I released those two guys. I have to thank Hashem in public. So the guy was so impressed by his righteousness, and he saw the way he dressed. He felt bad for him. They were young. They were in their 20s at that time. So he says, you know what? No charge for the meal. It's all on me, the guy tells him. Say, Hashem yivarech otcha, God will bless you. Let me help you to the car. He doesn't know he came with a cab. So he goes out. He see the cab is waiting outside. He say, you came from Yerushalayim with a cab? He say, yes, I don't have a car. He asks the taxi driver, tell me how much is the ride? Tell him the price. He takes out money. He say, it's also on me. He pays him for the ride. Now they get to Meron. They take out all the food. They put the food, there's tables over there. What do they see? Rav Benayahu say, see, the Baba Sali. Everybody heard about the Baba Sali, no? One of the holiest in this generation, of the previous generation, sitting in a table with all the Moroccan, French millionaires from Paris, sitting in an important meal, eating and drinking and singing, making a meal in Meron. As soon as they get off the car and they put the food over there, the Baba Sali points at this guy Todos. He said, come here. So I would say, I walk after him, I'm wondering what's going to be next. The Baba Sali calls him up. As they speak, one guy after the other come, the Baba Sali give them bracha, and they give a donation. He has yeshiva at that time. So they give him an envelope. He's holding an envelope in his hand. Come Todos. He say a few words to Todos. Give him the envelope. He say, it's for you. Todos take the envelope. What a normal person does. Put it in his pocket. Later he goes to the bathroom to count. No, he takes the envelope. He gives it to Rav Benayahu. He said, this is for the money you gave me. He swear. You're not allowed to swear with the Torah, but if he could, he would. So I opened up the envelope. How much was in? $1,000. So this is a person in our generation. But you think he was born like this? He's learning all his hearts in the Torah. The power of the Torah, it's tremendous. People are paying fortune for psychology, psychiatrists, all kinds of books, courses, all nonsense. You have it for free. You pay $10, $15, you read it a few times in your life. It changed your life tremendously. It's worth trillions, not billions. You never worry. You know what great life it is to live all your life, never worry about the mortgage? Never worry about the yeshiva prices. It's expensive, it's not expensive. The Ari HaKadosh, the Ari Zal, when he used to go and buy Arbat Aminim, the Esrog, the Lulav, he used to go with his wallet. He doesn't ever ask prices. He checked the best one, and he said to the guy, take what you deserve. Don't ask prices, nothing. So they ask him, Rabbi, maybe he's not 100% honest. It's going to take, maybe he takes advantage on you. So he say, mitzvah you have to do purely. You don't argue about the price. You buy tefillin, you buy mezuzah, you buy something that you're going to do mitzvot with, don't argue about price. When you go buy your car, argue with the price. Today it's the opposite. You come to buy tefillin. What? $630? What's it? What's this? It's a year of work to make tefillin. You know how much work? If I will make it in America, it will be $10,000 labor only. Just the amount of hours that it takes to make it. What? $550? You crazy? Wow, I heard there's for 200. Anyway, he comes to buy a car. How much? 105,000. Why the leather is this color? Don't you have a better color? No, but it's extra special. $5,000 more just for the color. No problem. Put it in. I need sunroof. 10 more thousand. Put it in. What else you have? Why? Do you ever wonder why? Why a person argue about $50 for tefillin, $10 for mezuzah, but he doesn't argue about 10, 20,000. Sometimes he buy a house. The negotiation go from hundreds of thousands, you know, like you buy a $5 million house, and let's say it's in the auction, so somebody say 4.8 million, so you say 5 million. It doesn't say 4.81. He jumped by hundreds of thousands, he doesn't care, the same thing. Why? Why is it? Because here there's a resistance of the Satan, the Yetzer Hara. Every time a person comes to do mitzvah, right away what happened? The desire starting to work against. Always the Satan pull him over. So we will continue like this. Pay attention. We have to know that every little thing on his life is directed by his God. For good and for what we call bad. With the brain or with the strength. It's all connected to his direction. To bring him, to push him to fulfill the purpose of his life. What is it? To recognize his Creator and become closer and closer to him and break all the separation that we have between our soul to our Creator. And then, if a person is not awake and he does not recognize the hints that God sends him all the time, then the hits become heavier and more painful and sometimes more frequent. And if this doesn't help, then it becomes even worse. And the purpose of everything is that a person will get to a point that he knows he's helpless. And he will turn his eyes to Hashem and say, save me please. Nobody saved me. Everybody let me down. And this is a key moment of a person's life. Because from now on his life will never be the same. From the moment that he felt that I am helpless, I am nothing, and everything I have, it's really his. As the Torah says, be careful never to think that something that you have really came from you. Be careful, not because of your talent, not because of your wisdom, none. It has nothing to do with what you have. Everything you have, I gave you. Do not dare to say, I made my strength, my success because of that and that and that. No, there's no because. When a person recognizes Hashem, recognizes the purpose of life, there's never the word because. It's really not belong in his vocabulary. Because. There's no because. There's only one reason. Hashem wanted you to have it right now. If tomorrow he wants to take it, he'll take it. Tomorrow he wants to give you 10 times more, he'll give you 10 times more. There's a person, this story you're going to like because you're going to know the rabbi. I hope I'm not going to get into trouble, but since I sit with some Persian people, I'll tell you the rabbi. The name of the rabbi is the biggest Persian rabbi in the world. His name is Rav Eliezer ben David. He has 40 years in Kiruv. He influenced thousands of people. And I don't know if he gives lecture in Persian, in Farsi, but in Hebrew his lectures are sweeter than honey. But you know, I don't know if you know a little bit about him, that he has perhaps thousands of people that learns Torah and he's in charge of them to supply them with their demand. One of the people who helps him out is a billionaire from Mexico. His name is Moshe Sava. This Moshe Sava owned the biggest television station in Mexico. Something like you say CBS here, one of these big stations, he owned it, among all his other businesses. When he was in his 20s, he was already worth then, more than 20 years ago, $150 million. He was donating a lot of money every month for people to sit and learn Torah, because he knew he is Syrian. The Syrian has a lot of respect for the Torah, and he knew that this is the key to the success, and this is what makes Hashem very happy. However, one time Rabbi Eliezer ben David found out that there's a bank in Argentina that pays 27% interest on your money. You know, it's like a dream. How much the bank pays? 3, 4, 2%, 5%. 27%, legit, a bank? He went, he checked around, he said, yes, it's legit, 27%, they give you the documents. So he had an idea. He said, instead of coming to Moshe Sava to get tens of thousands of dollars every week for paying the salaries, why don't I take $50 million from him, put it on his name in an account in Argentina, I won't touch the money, it's his money, just to stay there, and from the interest, I calculate, I pay all the salaries, and I don't have to travel all over the world for meetings to collect charity. He came to Moshe Sava, and he told him, that's the idea, what do you think about it? He said, fantastic idea. He gave him $50 million, he put it in the account in Argentina. For a few months, of course, he was working. Then the rest was kind of clear. Two of the owners of the bank that made up that idea, they got a lot of money from a lot of people. They took all the money and disappeared somewhere in South America and never found them. Disappeared with phony IDs, they took all the money to Switzerland, disappeared. Comes poor Rabbi Ben David to this billionaire. At that time he was a millionaire. He lost in one shot 1/3 of his money. And he told him, that's what happened. I'm sorry, it's not in my hand, it looks good. Hakol mishamayim. So the guy was 20-something years old. He told him, Rabbi, Hashem gave, Hashem took, Hashem gives everything. Why should I cry for something that I only had it for now? I know I'm going to be here in this world already for X amount of years. Anyway, I'm not going to take it with me. Don't worry. I will continue to give you donation as I was before. You know what happened right after that? He got the bid on that station for nothing. It's worth billion times more today than what he paid. That's it. He just wanted to buy a channel in Israel for hundreds of millions of dollars. One of the main channels in Israel, he wanted them not to work on Shabbat. They didn't want. The deal went down. But Hashem gave him unlimited success. Baruch Hashem, people like this, we're happy to see them successful. Why? Faith, understand that everything you have, it's not really yours. And you have to know one thing. It's a big, big test to be wealthy. Very big test. People want to be wealthy, but it's almost impossible to pass the test. The Gemara asks, what's better? To be very poor? To be very rich? What's better? Everybody said to be very rich. The Gemara disagree. Hashem said no. Average. Pay your bills, live comfortable. That's the best way. Not too rich, and of course not too poor. Why? Too poor, it's a big test on your faith. Confidence in Hashem. You may not have food for your children. They cry at home. You need loans. You need to beg people for donation. It's a hard test. You may steal. Too rich, almost for sure you won't give your obligation, because God gave you a lot of money in order for you to give money for Torah and for the people who does mitzvot. And you keep everything for yourself, for your own pleasure. So you're a thief, because you don't give God what He expected you to give out. It's very difficult. Someone average, he can live. I once asked a question. Tell me please, what do you think? What's better, to be miserable rich or miserable poor?
Average, you said.
No. Average, I say what's better in life. But now when you have a choice, no average. You don't have average as a choice. God comes to you in a dream. Say, what do you want? You want to be, I see you miserable. I'm going to make you miserable rich or miserable poor. Which one you choose to be?
Poor.
Huh?
Poor.
So the answer is, for sure, it's better to be miserable poor. Not rich. Why? Why? Because 99.9% of the people who did not reach wealth yet, they live with hopes that one day when they make it, they'll be very happy. Even though it's a lie, it's an illusion, for sure they won't get to happiness because of making money. But just the fact that they live with a hope make their life worthwhile. Someone who already reached the millions or the billions and still miserable has no more reason to live. That's why sometimes they shoot themselves in the head or take drugs. It's interesting. People who reach the top of the pyramid, for instance in Hollywood, what reason they have to become drug addict? It doesn't make sense. You know what? Emptiness. As long as they had a dream, it was just a little actor in a show here and there in Broadway, and then, maybe 500 people see him a week. He had a dream to become very famous. Once he get to the head of the pyramid, he realized that his life is not what he thought it's going to be. And from there, the way down is very, very fast. A person that is very healthy in his mind is not going to do any transaction before he thinks about the purpose. What is he trying to get? Nobody in history ever made a transaction without having a purpose and a wish. Nobody just does things. I give you an example. If you tell a person, do me a favor, take your hand and bring it up and down for an hour. Like this. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. Why? Tell him just for the fun. Go like this. He won't agree. You tell them, go like this, you'll get $1,000 an hour if you go like this. Now he has a purpose. $1,000? I don't care. This, like this, whatever you tell me. I go around, I dance for you. You play the flute, I'll dance, no problem. I have a purpose. What's my purpose? Not the dance. I got to get somewhere. That's going to get me there? No problem. Before, there was no purpose. It's not going to do it. Nobody ever created in this world something without a purpose. Why should we think that the most sophisticated one, which is the creator of this world, no one can deny that his brilliance is endless? Why would he create something for no purpose? And the answer is, of course not. He created everything for a purpose. What's the most important thing in this world? Us. And from all the people in the world, until one point, we were equally. We were equal. At one point in Mount Sinai, he told us, you are different than them, than the Gentiles. Do not imitate them, do not behave like them. You are my children, and you are the purpose of this world. And from the Jewish nation, there is another level. What's that level? A person, I'm not saying from birth, I'm saying a level that you can reach. A level of Talmid Chacham, or another level of a person that has big emunah and bitachon. The more you are getting closer to the target, you're going to see that there's only very few people that reach that level. From 6.4 billion people that lives in the world, how many of them today live with peace of mind and happiness, and everything that happened to them, they dance and sing? In the time of the Holocaust, one of the rabbis survived, but his 11 children died. 11 children died. And he survived and he came to Union, New Jersey. I think it was the Klosenberg Rebbe, one of the Ashkenazi Hasidic rabbis. He came to and established a community in Union, New Jersey. And one of the Holocaust survivors that lost one son. He had one son and he lost him in the Holocaust. Or maybe he had few and he lost one. He came to cry to the Rebbe about his bad fortune. And the Rebbe was crying with him for a few minutes. They crying together. He cries, the Rebbe cries. Then the guy say, wait a minute. Why are you crying for me so much? I lost 1, you lost 11. You are much more miserable than me. So he got angry. He got up. Chas v'shalom. God forbid. I'm not miserable at all. I'm the luckiest person in the world. So why you cry for me? If you're luckiest, you lost 11. Why you cry for me? I cry for you because you feel you're miserable. You're suffering. I see a Jew that suffer, I suffer with him. I never suffer. Minutes after it happened, I know God gave and He took. The problem with us is we do not understand anything about this life. Nothing whatsoever. We don't understand what life is, why babies die, why God give a baby and takes him 5 months later, why someone is rich, why someone is poor, why our life can be from one side to the other constantly. We don't understand. Because we don't understand, we are judging what happened based on what we learn in the media. And the media tell you that if you don't have a lot of money, you're worthless. They convinced you that if you're not a professional in America, you're worthless. And God is sitting over there and laughing at all this foolishness of the people here. What's better? Tell me. Tell me if I'm wrong. What's better? If 6.4 billion people in the entire world would say that the right way is this way, and you open up a book that you have no doubt that this is the book of your Creator, and He said the opposite way is the right way, who should you listen to? Who should you listen to? 6 billion people on one way, on one direction, and one book from the Creator of the world that say no, the other way. I'll give you an example. One way to be happy is, people think that the more they gain money, the happier they be. Comes the Torah say the opposite. The Torah says the more money that you make sure you invest a lot of it in spiritual causes, because this is the only money you will take with you to the world of eternity. Where does it say it in the Torah? In one of the places. It says on the Torah, Etz Chaim ila machzikim ba. This is a tree of life to those who hold the Torah, means learning the Torah. Vetomchea meushar. And the supporters of the Torah will reach happiness. Happiness that God speaks, never, the spiritual terms of the Torah never refer to this materialistic world, to this temporary world. Never. It's always from now for eternity. The verses in the Torah that speaks about spiritual gifts, spiritual pleasure, don't ever think that it's referred to this world. Because if you think that way, you are wrong. Every time the Torah say to reach happiness, the Torah means from now to eternity. Whether you're in this world, whether you're going to come in reincarnation in a new body, whether you're going to stay in heaven, whether eventually you will resurrect in a resurrection of the dead and live here for 1,000 years until you're going to reach the world of the souls. Whatever the stations that your soul, whenever the soul is going to be, you will reach happiness. This is a sgula, this is a way to reach happiness. What? Support Torah. Give money to the yeshivot, to people who sit and learn Torah. Don't worry about parnasa. I have a lot of money. How much you need? $1,000 a month? In Israel for your family, here is 1,000 every month for 12 months. Learn Torah. Think about me when you learn. I'm going to make the money, you learn, you learn, you learn. There's one person here in America, somebody that knows him personally, told him that he gives, you ready? You're sitting? $400 million a year to Torah. $400 million a year, donations to Torah, almost every organization. Every person in Torah in Kiruv eventually get to him to be sponsored. You know that? Why? Smart person. Smart person. He doesn't sit in yeshiva all day. He learns here and there every day. He recognized the gift that God gave him, and he made fortune for himself. He is set forever and ever. Why? Because he was smart. He knew what to do with the gift that God gave him. However, there are other Jews that have perhaps even more money than him, or just as much. What are they going to do with their money? buy a new car every week, buy a new house in every city in the world, opening more businesses, and one day die. And what happened to the person when he dies and he left such an empire behind him? The agony will never stop, especially when he see what his children are going to do with his money. Or the United States government that will enjoy all his efforts and take right away 50-60% on his estate. His pleasure will be perfect. Comes the Torah say, don't be a fool. I'm giving you a great advice. You want to reach happiness? There's many ways. One of the ways is you have money invested in Torah. I guarantee that you're going to reach a level of happiness and peace of mind. If you do it, remember, happiness is not for the next 15, 20 years in this world. This is only one station. Chazal says that when a person dies, this life would look like a blink of the eye. Blink of the eye. You know how many times a minute you blink in your eyes? 20, 30 times a minute. You ever realize how many times a day you blink? That's how life will look. 78 years of this world would look like a blink of the eye. Finished. It's over before it started. And the question is, what's next? We continue. A person has to ask himself a question. Is it possible that God created me here in this world and my end is going to be that I'm going to die and nothing would left from me? Is it possible that the great spiritual creator, the perfect spiritual creator, he put me here just to live 60, 70 or 80 years with so much agony and pain like most people in this world have, and that was the purpose of the creation, to put us here to suffer? 1 out of 100 have a comfortable life. Millions are dying from starvation in Africa, in Russia. People are suffering sicknesses, diabetes, heart attacks, cancer, almost in every family, wars all over. This is the purpose of the creation? That people will come here for 70, 80 years to suffer and to live? Divorce, fights, children rebel against you, making money, losing money, jails, drugs, cigarettes, problems. Look how much accidents, traffic, every day, 3-4 hours sitting in a car like an idiot. Yeah, think about it. Try to drive from here to Manhattan in the morning with a car. You get to the city, $40 to put the car in a garage. Half an hour, whatever. Miserable life. Think about it. Again, yes, there are here and there people who made a lot of money, so it's no big deal. But most people have very difficult life. What was the purpose of this creation? What? To watch a Yankee game? For that he created you. Of course, we are intelligent, we're not dumb. Let's continue to ask. Is it possible that all that was for the purpose of being in this material world? The answer is of course not. The Torah told you no. That's only a preparation for the world of eternity. Now, how do we know if something that happened to us, it's a punishment or it was set for us as a part of our test? How do we know? Who knows?
Can you repeat the question?
How do you know if a person now lost money and he doesn't know, did I lose the money because I did something wrong and God is punishing me? Or did I do it because it's a part of my test?
Part of the test.
How do I know?
It's both together, combined together. It's both connected to each other.
So the answer is like this. Sometimes the soul comes to this world for a very short period of time. We have a story of the Ari HaKadosh 500 years ago. You heard about him?
Yeah.
One time, the Ari was a sandak in a Brit Milah. Sandak, you know what sandak is? We're almost done. 10 more minutes and we're finished. You know sandak, he was holding the baby. As he was holding the baby, as soon as they finished the brit, the baby died. Everybody started to cry in a brit. And the Ari HaKadosh was very happy. saying thank you to Hashem. I said, well, what happened to the Rav? So the Rav say, how many times in our life we had a chance to circumcise the writer of the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo. Who was Rabbi Yosef Karo? His neighbor. He passed away a year before, and he was reincarnated in a baby's body only for the circumcision, and he died. Why did he need to be reincarnated? There was one person in the last 2,000 years that were able to look at people and know who they used to be in their previous life, who are they now, the souls. He was a special person, the Ari HaKadosh, 500 years ago in Tzfat. You can see on his grave, the stone over there describe who was the Ari HaKadosh, the one and only. So, the Ari HaKadosh says that when Rabbi Yosef Karo got to heaven, and in his trial, and Hashem say, your life was very good. But there's only one more thing to correct. Because when you were born, you were sick. And they couldn't circumcise you on the 8th day. Even though it's not a serious problem, because the baby is sick. But for somebody in your level, to make it perfect for you, to get you the world according to your level, to stay in heaven in the highest level for you, I need to put you for another circumcision on the 8th day. And that's it. The Ari tells them the story. He came, he was circumcised, and he died. Now, it was good or not? First, if the parents saw that their baby died in a brit, they go crazy. Depression, Prozac, psychiatrists, sometimes they kill themselves as well. Nobody can tolerate that pain. But if you only knew that's the best thing could happen, Hashem gave them the merit to have such a tzaddik just to come to correct something, it fell in their hand, that means God appreciates them. But we don't know. But the problem is that we don't have faith. Faith is the cure. If you know Hashem, everything Hashem does, He's the only one who knows. He knows. You do not know. Why are you crying for something you don't know? I'll give you another example. When a person has a baby, everybody comes to the brit, what do they say? Mazal tov, kissing, hugging. Same thing in a wedding. Tell me please, is it smart to say Mazal tov in a brit and to be happy? Huh?
Babies,
Oh really, there's no reason for celebration.
there's no celebration.
Huh?
No celebration.
No, who understand where I'm heading to? Statistically, kids that are born today will be good to their parents, or they will go against their parents and make them a lot of problems in life. Statistically.
Bad for the parents.
There's a higher chance that this baby will put you in mental house by the age of another 20, 25 years from now. Why are you making a celebration? Statistic, it's a game of number.
Depends on
And you know what? Let's say there's no statistic. You have to agree that it's 50-50. You do not know. Maybe this kid will have a lot of sicknesses. Maybe it will take away all your money. Maybe, God forbid, it will bring you so much problem. You don't know. But still we are happy. Mazel tov. Well, we're happy for the mitzvah, Baruch Hashem. But the truth is, in the last son that I had, everybody say Mazal tov, Mazal tov. So I told them, please keep the Mazal tov when the kid will be 20 years old. Then I will know if it's Mazal tov or not such a Mazal tov. We will see what came out of it. Right or wrong? How many kids, I give you an example. When Yitzchak had Yaakov and Esav, so when they make the brit for Yaakov, they say Mazal Tov, because Yaakov had a brit. Esav never had a brit, because he was red. But they also told him Mazal Tov for Esav. Esav wasn't Mazal Tov. From Esav we had the Holocaust. You understand? So that's just to give you an idea that we do not know what's good, what's bad, what's for us, what's against us. We do not know. One thing we do know. Hashem told us, if you will have confidence in me, 100%, you will know that everything depends on me. What you have to do, you have to pray to me every day. The more you pray, the closer you get to me. Don't sit with your watch and count how many hours it takes until I answer and fulfill your mission. Some things in life, one prayer, it's enough for it. 2 hours later, you see the results. Sometimes you need a week. Sometimes you need 20 years to pray every day for it. What happens? Sometimes you pray all your life, you did not get it. Either it was bad for you and Hashem had mercy on you, you pray for something that is not positive for you. In either way, every moment of your prayers of your life, you are going to get a huge reward for your actual prayer. Even if you pray for nonsense, just the fact that you call your Hashem and say, Hashem, send me this and send me that and please help me and this. Now again, when a person made a sin, the way of the evil inclination to take advantage on the situation when his heart is broken and sink him even more, even deeper. This is a big mistake. You made already the sin, you must recuperate from the sin. Don't let the sin put you in depression. Oh, I just did that and I did that and I did that. Yes, you made a sin and sin needs to be corrected. And that's why we have Vidui, we have Yom Kippur, and we have many ways to correct it. But the most dangerous thing is to be sad. You have to know one thing. When a person is sad, if it was a prophet, he loses his prophecy. That's how bad sadness is. A person that was a prophet, that means Hashem speaking to him, but he is sad, he loses right away his prophecy. And God does not come to him. It can be now like this for years, God will not speak to him. As soon as he will overcome his depression or sadness, he will start to speak to God again. What do you learn? And this is many examples throughout the Bible that people who were in bad feeling and broken heart and all that,